All right, we have head women's golf coach Denise St. Pierre and sophomore Sarah Willis with us here today. We'll start with a little opening statement from Coach about the upcoming fall season.
Thanks, John. First of all, thank you all for being here. We're excited about our new year coming up here right just next week. We leave for our first tournament, but we got started this past weekend. I have 3 new freshmen on the squad. We have 9 total players, but unlike many other sports where your returning players might have seen some playing time because they may have gotten a few minutes into the game and came off the bench, golf just doesn't work that way. We only travel with our starters. So I feel like, in a sense, I might have more like 5 or 6 freshmen. With my returning starters, Sarah Willis, that's here with me this morning, and Megan McLean and Maddie Herr. Those are really the players that we have that have really seen a lot of playing time and have been out on the road with us. So having said that, I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a new squad this year, and so when I went ahead and made our schedule for the fall, we typically would play maybe 5 tournaments in the fall and then continue on in the spring. And this fall we're playing 4 tournaments, and I just didn't want to completely overwhelm some of the new players with too much on the schedule right away, and give us a chance to at least get situated, get a feel for things. We're very excited. We've got certainly some great players that have been added to the squad that are came in as freshmen here. Lauren Freivogel, who is just outside Pittsburgh. We have excuse me a minute, as I think, Mathilde Delanvalle. She's from France. Excited about having an international player. We've had those in the past, but this is the first one in a while. And Isha Druva is from Katy, Texas, and she is the younger sister of Ashni Druva, who's on the team and a senior for us. So we're very excited about adding them to the team and excited about what they'll bring to the team as well. So our fall schedule looks a lot like what we've done in the past, but one of the things that we have played in over the years is the Cougar Classic in Charleston, South Carolina, and that'll start next weekend. It's a great tournament with a lot of great teams, and so you really know coming out of the gate where your team stands when you play in this event, because it's you're really playing against some of the very top teams in the country. So we really love this tournament. It's at a great golf course, Yeaman Golf Course, down in Charleston. So that'll be our first event. And then a couple weeks we have our home invitational, Nittany Lion Invitational. It's the one opportunity we have to play in our backyard out of the whole year. So we welcome people to come out and watch a lot of great golf. We play 36 holes in one day. So on Saturday, September 21st, anytime you come out to the golf course, they'll be playing, pretty much. And then after that, we go to Kentucky. We've been to Kentucky's tournament before. It's also a great golf course. And then we finish up the fall season with the Landfall Tradition. Again, another very competitive field, and we're excited about going back to a great golf course in Wilmington, North Carolina for that event. But overall, I think we've got some good leadership coming back with the 3 players that I mentioned, Sarah, Megan, and Maddie. I think they will help lead this team, lead some of the younger players, and show them the ropes a little bit. You always hope that that you have some great leadership to go along. And one of the things that we talked about in our opening meeting on Monday was how important it is for us to come together as a group, because in golf it seems like you're out there on your own, playing on your own. We're not relying on someone to pass a ball or kick a ball to us. You're playing your game, but what's most important is that we get all of us to gel on the same day, and that's the secret. So we're really looking forward to encouraging each other and working together and getting after it in practice here the next week, and seeing what the fall brings.
Coach, right here. Oh, sorry.
Open up question.
Cut him off. Coach, can you just go back to the Nittany Lion Invitational and just kind of talk about what the opportunity to, be home in your backyard for a weekend, especially with the rigors that the season's travel brings?
Yeah. I mean, in our sport, as you said, I mean, we're only home once in the entire year. To be able to compete on your home golf course in golf, the golf course has changed so much. To have a golf course that you're very familiar with it's just very comfortable for the players, and to be able to sleep in their own bed and just all those kinds of things are just advantageous. I mean, I wish we could have more home events, but our sport doesn't work that way. When you have a tournament, you typically play 54 holes, and you typically have anywhere from 10 to 18 teams in the field. So you're kind of competing against all those teams all at once. So being at home it's always a proud moment. We got a great showcase, and we've got some teams. Rutgers is going to be joining us. That's one Big Ten school that's going to be in our field, and I think one of our other top competitors is going to be Georgetown. We've got some teams coming from a little shorter distance like Bucknell, but it's always a great weekend for us.
Denise, one of the things I've noticed in my 3 years being around you guys is when you set your lineup at the beginning of the year, you don't typically change it, and if you do, it's still the same 6 ladies that you're taking, you're traveling with. Losing players like Lauren, Jackie, and Kara, is this year going to allow you to maybe tinker a little bit more than in the past?
It's a great question. I mean, the one thing that has been consistent over the last 4 years were those 3 players that you just spoke of that did graduate last year. That doesn't happen all the time. I'm not going to say that that's a necessarily way that we do it all the time. We don't just set the team and then just go off from there. I really give everyone an opportunity to challenge the lineup week in and week out if they're producing. So it's a lot up to them. Some of it might be some coaching decisions. If we see some real closeness, and we might want to go with someone with a little more experience. But I think it's exciting to have some different people in the lineup. I think it's exciting to see what kind of energy that they bring, because that has a lot to do too with the team's performance. And as I said, the fall kind of gives us the opportunity to sort of see how different people are doing. And to your point, when we're home at the Nittany Lion Invitational, everyone gets to play. So that does give us a lot of a good look at people. I mean, for example, this young lady last year, you probably remember, Sarah Willis, didn't make the lineup for our home invitational as a freshman and won the Nittany Lion Invitational with a record 11 under par. So it is a great time to kind of see what people are going to do. So we're looking forward to the possible change.
That brings me to a question for Sarah. I don't know if anyone told you this, but Charles Huntzinger won the Rutherford his freshman year. Did you talk about that at all, that you both won the home tournament your freshman year, and then what's it like coming back the next year kind of with the target on your back or the pressure on your shoulders sort of thing?
So I actually didn't know that he won his freshman year. That's really cool. I haven't talked with him about it, no, but that would be interesting to see. Going into this invitational this year, I'm just looking to improve from last year now, not really thinking about anything in specifics, but kind of just doing me, playing my best game, and I think that if I do, there will be great results. So.
Sarah, I'm interested some players you admired growing up that you watched, particularly on the LPGA or PGA Tour.
So what's kind of interesting about me is I started playing the game because of my brother and my dad, and the first couple years, I really just liked it for the competition. It wasn't really for the sport. So I'd say players I really looked up to are more like my brother and a couple of players in the area that were just close by that I could really look up to. But I don't watch too much LPGA and PGA stuff, but I really appreciate everything that Tiger Woods has done for the sport, and just opening it up and just making it kind of more a public knowledge that golf is cool and golf is fun.
And when did you first know that you wanted to play in college?
That's a good question. I think probably towards the end of like me playing in U.S. kids golf, so I probably was like 11 or 12. I realized that I wanted to take it to the next level, and college golf is kind of the way to do that. The best way for golfers to get to the professional level is through college golf.
We were just talking in the back about different ways to make college golf maybe a little more exciting and a little more easier to watch for the average viewer. I'm interested to kind of hear you guys' thoughts on what this sport needs to do to attract more women, more minorities, because that's really the problem this game has is the average golfer is a white male. So I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on growing this game.
Well, how much time do we have? I think that we're starting to turn a corner here in the United States to make a difference a little bit in encouraging young people to play. I'm seeing a lot more programming done through the PGA and the LPGA for young people. So I don't think that it's the opportunities that aren't there. I think we're starting to see a lot more opportunities at the club level, at the public golf course level, at the city level. I think that the key is to keep them engaged after they get started, because everybody's way into it when they're 7, 8, 9. They're out there playing all these different games, and they get to play from 100 yards, and play toward the hole, because they have the kids' tees now at a lot of different golf courses. But I think we need to do probably a better job once they hit the 12, 13, 14-year age to keep them engaged, and particularly girls, because they just want to be with their friends. And so they gravitate towards some sports that they can do that, whether it be soccer or basketball or softball. So I don't have the exact answer to that, but I know that we talk about it often as a coaching group, and we are working on trying to implement and keeping them engaged and having the opportunities. I think it's having the opportunities and keeping them engaged with a group.
And then 2 great events that just kind of started up in the past couple years that are really great for opening the game up to, again, like the 13 and under age divisions, and then we just came out with the Women's Augusta tournament as well, but the drive, chip, and putt too. I participated in that the inaugural year, and that's a really cool event because it's like you don't have to be great at the game to qualify for this, and everyone can participate. There's probably a local qualifier near you, and it's a really fun way to get your kids involved. And then the Women's Augusta, it's amazing, the event that they have now, and I hope to play in it one day because just the fact that they're letting us on that course that has been only men for so long, it's just, I think, really great things are happening for the game.
I'll keep going. What kind of summer did some of your players have? I know no one made it to the USAM this year, but Sarah and Megan both played in the North-South. Obviously, we were just talking about Liv at the Pennsylvania State Amateur. How do you view kind of your team's summer?
I think that we didn't have anybody walk away with necessarily a championship on their shoulders. But we did have a number of them have some great experiences. In particular, you just mentioned Olivia Zambruno. She's one of those players that has not seen a lot of playing time other than the home invitational. But she made it to the final match play in the state championship and ended up playing against one of our stars who graduated last year, Jackie Rogowitz. So to take Jackie to the last hole was just exceptional, and really along the way, the matches she played along the way, she played some great golf, and that just lends itself to helping out the confidence level. And I think Olivia's always been a good player, but just kind of getting over that hump of playing in college and having the confidence in your game to have good results is really, really helpful. So I'm excited for her. I think that summer experience has been great. Megan McLean was down at the North South in Pinehurst. It's a great tournament. Made it to the match play. That's a great experience and a great opportunity that she had. So, I think that it may be a good thing. I look at it, try to spin it in a positive way. That okay, so we don't have any state champions or no one made the USAM. So possibly coming in, they're even hungrier, and those experiences they had, we learn from times that we sometimes, fail versus succeed, if you want to call it that. So I kind of look at it as a positive thing. So.
Coach and I was talking about this earlier, but how is it easier to recruit now because of all these tournaments we were talking about earlier, all these new tournaments that are up, and it's so much easier for juniors to find opportunities to play? Does that help you at all, or does it make it more difficult?
I think it could be two-sided there, because I think, yes, there are a lot more tournaments out there, so yes, there's more opportunities and more people that are getting outside of their backyard is kind of what I call it. A lot of times, years ago, you might just get someone that sends you a resume and says they're their club champion, and you're like, well, okay. And now there's just so many different junior tournaments that young people can play in, that it allows coaches to see a lot of different players. So I think that it's certainly an advantage. I think the other thing that's helped recruiting for coaches is there's a lot more scouting coaches out there that are helping connect young players with coaches, with college coaches. So I think that also has played a role. I mean, the fact that we have Mathilde from France, I mean, I got to see her at the British Girls last year, but having someone that helped connect us was a big thing.
Yeah, and so one of the things that you were really proud of 3 years ago was you had a starting lineup. I think for most of that year, that was all from Pennsylvania, and now you're rattling off names, and the only name of the your three returning starters is Maddie, who's from Pennsylvania. So what's it like, a totally new dynamic now this year, because all three out of the four seniors you graduated were from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, that was a special recruiting class, to have. It's very difficult sometimes to recruit the best players out of Pennsylvania because they just have it in their head they want to go somewhere else, and so when I was able to land those three in the same year, I thought that was just, I was going after Coach Franklin's statement of dominate the state, so we were excited about that, and I still, I have no problem recruiting out of my state or out of anywhere close by. Certainly not trying to necessarily change that, but I think we also have to kind of look beyond that sometimes too. So it's really, it can change year to year, just depends on where the players are.
You have two sets of sisters this year. I'm interested to know, have you had that before, and what kind of dynamic do you think that will create?
Well, Lauren Waller graduated, so Taylor Waller, her younger sister, redshirted last year, so they were on the team together, but she was redshirting, so that was kind of probably didn't see that real, competing amongst each other for anything. This year with Isha and Ashni, it'll be interesting. I mean, Isha is going to be out for the first tournament because she's just nursing a little hiccup here that she has. But I think it's exciting. I've never had it before. I've never had sisters on the team before. So, I think it's okay. I think it's certainly going to be interesting once they're both competing for spots, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, I'm interested. What kind of confidence? Obviously, you had played the blue course before when you'd won. So, how much more confidence do you have now going into these road tournaments, knowing that this is going to be the second time you've seen most of these golf courses?
That's one of the things I was actually really excited about for this year. It is a little interesting going in for the first time and like playing in these tournaments when you haven't been there. So last year, what I really tried to do is, knowing that the senior class had been there so often, I was just really trying to like get as much knowledge as I could from them and just asking as many questions about the course and like how certain things played and taking really great notes. So I have a big stack of yardage books that I'm ready for, and they're ready to go for this year. So it's going to be fun to play these courses again and know them a little better this time.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.